The government invites the MTR to plan the South Island Line West project. The police confirmed one more death in the Taipei fire, bringing the death toll to 161. And today marks the 26th anniversary of Macau's return to the motherland. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The government will invite the MTR Corporation to proceed with detailed planning and design of the South Island Line West project. Construction is set to commence in 2027 and is expected to be completed by 2034. Samantha Lee spoke with some residents in the Southern District.
The Chief Executive in Council has given the green light for the government to invite the MTR Corporation to go ahead with the South Island Line West project. The project will adopt a smart and green mass transit system, which will run on dedicated elevated viaducts and tunnels. Stretching 7.5 kilometers, the railway will connect Wong Tai Sin Station and HKU Station, forming a transit loop with the South Island Line East and Island Line. It will consist of 8 stations, including Wong Tai Sin, Aberdeen, Tin Wan, Hua Guai, Hua Fu, Cyberport, Queen Mary Hospital, and HKU. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan revealed on her weekly blog that the train will mostly run on elevated viaducts, except for the tunnel section between Queen Mary Hospital and HKU. Instead of using traditional heavy rail, the transport chief said the smart and green system boasts a climbing ability that is 100% greater than that of heavy rail, making it well suited for the hilly terrain of the Southern District. So what do residents think?
That's cool. That's really cool. And also very convenient to everyone, including the sick and then the one that lives around here.
How do you usually get to here?
By bus. You need to walk up and then by bus. If you have station here, it's much easier because sometimes they have traffic here. You got caught in the traffic, so sometimes 30 minutes or more than something like that. If you're coming from Wan Chai, it's all like 45 minutes.
This man who lives in Chifu Fa Yun, which is higher up the hill from the railway, said the railway may not offer much convenience to him, but he is still looking forward to it. Ms. Ho sometimes visits her family members in Queen Mary Hospital. She believes patients will have greater flexibility in scheduling appointments thanks to the higher frequency of trains. This medical staff mentioned the minibuses from the hospital to Central are usually crowded, and sometimes he has to wait as long as an hour. He believes the railway could be a big help for the disabled. Lawmaker Judy Chen, who has just been elected to represent Island West in the coming legislative term, pledged she will urge the authorities to speed up the project.
I think the government and the MTR, they could, explore the option to maybe have one station at a time, one stop at a time. Like, for example, Wong Tai Sin going to Aberdeen, they could probably start that first, and coming from the Hong Kong University, going to the Queen Mary Hospital, they could actually, start that first as soon as that station is ready, and doesn't have to wait until the whole loop is complete.
The extension of the South Island Line is designed to offer residents an alternative traveling option to road transport, resulting in reduced travel time. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The Yau Ma Tei section of the Central-Kowloon bypass will open tomorrow at 10 a.m. The toll will be waived until the entire bypass is fully commissioned next year. The 4.7-kilometer corridor connects the Yau Ma Tei interchange to the Kai Tak interchange. Workers were making preparations. The government expects drivers can save 25 minutes when traveling from Yau Ma Tei to Kowloon Bay during peak hours. 8 bus routes will hit the road on Monday. The police confirmed one more death in the Taipei fire, bringing the total number of fatalities to 161. This after forensic analysis found one set of remains contained DNA from 2 people. Samantha Lee has more.
The massive blaze in Wangfu Court last month has left countless families broken and in despair. Commissioner of Police Zhou Chao said forensic doctors found different DNA samples on what was previously thought to be one body. He said the test suggested that the two DNA samples belong to a married couple. He noted that DNA tests are still ongoing, which may result in a higher death toll. The 6 missing cases reported previously had all been resolved. He said 5 were among those killed in the fire, and another one was found to have died in 2023. As to when Wangfu Court will be reopened, Chow said the authorities are still in the process of dismantling the scaffolding and netting, as well as evidence collection, and therefore they cannot confirm a specific date at this moment. Chow was speaking after a passing out parade for 34 probationary inspectors and 187 recruit police constables at the Hong Kong Police College. As of the end of last month, more than 10,000 people had applied to join the force this fiscal year, with 43% of them applying for the probationary inspector position. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The government announced that the Hotel Hong Kong Park of the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park, located in the Loop in the northern part of the city, will open on Monday. Secretary for Innovation and Technology and Industry Sun Dong wrote in his blog post that currently the park has more than 60 local, domestic, and overseas life and health technology and artificial intelligence companies. The first 3 buildings in the first phase include 2 lab buildings and talent dormitories. The utilization rate of the lab buildings has reached 80%. The government has so far received 27 submissions for the development of the remaining first phase land plots. Today marks the 26th anniversary of Macau's return to the motherland. The flag-raising ceremony and the celebration reception were held in the morning. The ceremony was officiated by Macau's chief executive Sam Ho-fai. He quoted President Xi Jinping as saying the enclave's future work includes taking the initiative to align with the nation's 15th five-year plan. Meeting the press after the reception, Sam said that Macau should promote economic diversification and development and will increase policy support and capital investment. In Taiwan, the island remains on edge after the knife and smoke bomb attacks near the Taipei main metro station and Zhongshan station on Friday. 4 people died, including passers-by and the suspect, identified as a 27-year-old man named Chang Wen. 11 others were injured. The police's preliminary investigation suggests that the assaults were premeditated. At exit M8 of Taipei main station, some citizens laid flowers in the morning to mourn the victims. Armed police officers could be seen patrolling the station area. The attack happened on Friday evening when a man hurled smoke bombs inside Taipei main station and slashed a male passerby who tried to stop him. About an hour later, he moved to the S-Lake Spectrum Nanxi store in Zhongshan district, where he again cast smoke bombs and slashed a motorcyclist. Before entering the S-Lake shopping mall to attack others. The suspect later fell from the department store building and died. Police investigation found that about 2 hours before the incident, the suspect repeatedly set fire on the streets, damaging 5 cars and a restaurant. The police believe the acts failed to attract attention, prompting him to escalate the violence to target Taipei main station. After the first attack at Taipei main station, the suspect returned to a nearby hotel and stayed there for half an hour before going out again to carry out the second assault. Local police said the 27-year-old suspect Chang Wen had been wanted by authorities since July after failing to report to military service. Reportedly, he had voluntarily served in the military but was fired for drunk driving. After the incident, the police searched his residences in Taoyuan and Taipei City. In one of his places, authorities found materials for making petrol bombs. The suspect was said to have rented an apartment in Taipei City since January. Based on multiple other leads, he began planning the attack as early as mid-year. Taiwan police say at this stage they are still unable to clearly determine the motive, and they only know that he had a plan to carry out the attack with no evidence of any accomplices so far. Taiwan authorities have ordered a thorough investigation into the suspect's motive and stepped up police presence in public places and crowded areas. The Premier of New South Wales in Australia, Chris Minns, announced his government will introduce new measures to combat hateful symbols and slogans. This in the wake of the Bondi Beach attack. Danny Rao tells us more.
Speaking on Saturday in Sydney, the state capital, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns announced new measures to fight hate speech. Among the provisions are laws combating hateful symbols and a ban on explicit support for terrorist groups.
First of all, the government will introduce new laws banning hateful symbols and giving police greater powers to remove face coverings during public assemblies and demonstrations. The government will examine additional measures to further crack down on hateful slogans. Monday's legislation will specifically outlaw terrorist symbols such as the ISIS flags and indeed all banned terrorist organisations in New South Wales for public display either in the streets during a public demonstration or in houses anywhere.
Meanwhile, hundreds of surf lifesavers lined up on Bondi Beach on Saturday morning, staying silent for 2 minutes and facing the ocean in a tribute to the victims of last Sunday's attack. The police reopened parts of the beach on Thursday. Bondi Beach's lifeguards have returned 6 days after members of their service became first responders by running towards the gunfire barefoot and clutching first aid kits. Australia's federal government and that of New South Wales have declared Sunday as a day of reflection to honour the victims of the Bondi shooting. Dan Rao, TV News.
And still ahead, the Trump administration launched military strikes in Syria to eliminate Islamic State. More photographs from the Epstein files have been released. And the Kennedy Center in Washington is renamed with Donald Trump's name added on it. Welcome back. The U.S. Trump administration has launched military strikes in Syria on Friday to eliminate Islamic State group fighters and weapon sites. The strikes were in retaliation for an ambush that killed 2 U.S. soldiers and an American civilian interpreter almost a week ago. Tracy Furness has more.
U.S. fighter jets take off from an undisclosed location. They are heading for Syria. Then bombs fall. The strikes hitting 70 targets in areas across central Syria that had Islamic State infrastructure and weapons. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying, "This is not the beginning of a war. It's a declaration of vengeance. Vengeance for 2 soldiers and an interpreter killed after they were ambushed almost a week ago in Syria." President Trump announcing the strike soon after it took place.
I'm also pleased to announce that just 2 hours ago, we hit the ISIS thugs in Syria who were trying to regroup after their decimation by the Trump administration 5 years ago. I ordered a massive strike on the terrorists that killed our 3 great patriots last week. 2 soldiers, 1 interpreter, all great people. And it was very successful. It was precision. We hit every site flawlessly, and we are restoring peace to the strength all over the world.
But United Nations Under-Secretary General Rosemary DiCarlo said Syria's government had actually condemned the attack on the U.S. soldiers, blaming extremists.
The Syrian government has condemned the attack, which they stated was carried out by a member of the Syrian security forces suspected of harboring extremist views.
This is Syria's government and its allies on Friday welcomed the final lifting of the almost draconian sanctions imposed on the country in recent decades. Syria's President Ahmad al-Sharaa addressed the country with congratulations and gratitude for the lifting of the sanctions. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Pope Leo XIV arrived for his last Jubilee audience in the Vatican's St. Peter's Square. Standing in the Pope-mobile on Saturday morning, the pontiff waved to the waiting crowd and blessed children. 2025 is a Jubilee year at the Vatican, which happens every 25 years. The theme is Pilgrims of Hope. Some U.S. lawmakers have been critical of the latest release of the Epstein files. It was not a total release, with some files held back. U.S. President Donald Trump does not feature prominently. Former President Bill Clinton is seen in a swimming pool and in a hot tub. Other famous people, such as Michael Jackson, appear. David Garrett reports.
The Epstein files, evidence gathered as part of a criminal investigation at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2019. Convicted of sex offences in the 2000s, Epstein is in many photos. Some faces are blacked out. It is just a portion of the material that has just been released, with some files held back.
The whole process of being transparent was to only redact the survivors and the victims' names. So here we are right where we started.
Other photographs belonging to Epstein, who died while awaiting a sex trafficking trial in 2019. They show former US President Bill Clinton. He appears with an unidentified woman in a swimming pool. No context is given. Clinton in another, this time in a hot tub. Nothing illegal is shown. A spokesperson saying Clinton has done nothing wrong and they can release as many old, grainy photos as they like, as the former president has nothing to hide, but he regrets knowing Epstein. Clinton is shown with Mick Jagger. Other music stars, Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, are in snaps too. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, formerly the UK's Prince Andrew, is laying across ladies' laps. The DOJ were mandated by Congress to release this data. President Trump at a rally overnight barely mentioned. Trump eventually asked for the files to be released, denying any wrongdoing. The president says he disassociated himself from Epstein decades ago. Trump did not talk about the former financier to supporters, as the White House called the move an act of transparency.
Why didn't they do it when Joe Biden was in office? Why did they wait till Trump's in office to do it? And how many years ago was this stuff going on? 19 years? And now they want to bring it out now? It's just a bunch of BS trying to hurt Trump. But he ain't gonna hurt Trump because we riding the Trump train.
Democrats and Epstein victims say the public need to see all the material, fearing a cover-up.
But yet you still haven't released the files and it's not even full transparent. So it's very nice to say it, but it's also nice to actually do it.
There's already pressure for more releases. Friday's deadline for opening the Epstein files was seen as an end. It may be just the beginning. David Garrett, TVB News.
The Kennedy Center added Donald Trump's name to the building on Friday, a day after the U.S. president's handpicked board voted to do so. Denny Rao has details.
The Board of Trustees voted to add Trump's name. It is now the Donald J. Trump and the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. Trump, a Republican, is chairman of the board. Critics of the vote, including Democratic members of Congress who are ex officio board members, as well as some historians, insist only Congress can change the name. As U.S. President Trump said, he was honored and surprised by the move.
The so-called Kennedy Center board wants to rename the Kennedy Center after Donald Trump. Are you kidding me? Like, how does that help deal with the affordability crisis in this country? These people are pathetic. They are sycophants. And these are individuals right now who are bending the knee to a loser. The Republicans are losers. Why are you bending the knee at this point in time?
Well, I was honored by it. The board is a very distinguished board, most distinguished people in the country. And I was surprised by it. I was honored by it. You know, we're saving the building. We saved the building. The building was in such bad shape, both physically, financially, and every other way. And now it's very solid, very strong.
Congress named the Performing Arts Center as a living memorial to President John F. Kennedy in 1964, the year after he was assassinated. The law explicitly prohibits the Board of Trustees from making the center into a memorial to anyone else, and from putting another person's name on the exterior of the building. The Kennedy Center is the latest building in Washington, D.C. to have Trump's name added to it. He recently had his name added to the building for the U.S. Institute of Peace. Dunral, TV News.
To celebrate the 35th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Singapore, the Succession of Chinese Cultures and Arts Association staged Cantonese opera fused with AI technology in the Lion City earlier this month. Lion dance-inspired robot dogs and an AI-powered humanoid robot dressed in traditional Cantonese opera costumes took the stage alongside opera performers to present the classic piece The Shengling, or Tune of Victory. For the first time, the production used AI to recreate the appearance and voices of late Cantonese opera performer and legendary TVB actor Leung Sing-po, who was born in 1909 Singapore. Former Legislative Council President Jasper Tsang also made a cameo performance. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.